Rewarding Hope is we're celebrating National Volunteer Week. Oh,
That's
please
one of
remember
our younger new volunteers.
that is. Please remember to put yourselves on mute once again, friends, as everyone is joining us. We're so happy to see you. Just put yourselves on mute, turn those cameras off, or not. As long as you can see the presentation, we're going to be good. And then we're going to have a chance to share other people's videos too. So thank you so much. All right, so we're going to get started. Once again, we're celebrating National Volunteer Week, which starts the 18th to the 24th. It is our Volunteer Service Years of Service Recognition Program. So before we turn it over to our opening comments, just want to let you know what our lineup is. We've got a jam-packed show, but we're all going to get it in on time. So opening remarks from the RVSO, a community relations introduction, and that'll make sense as the evening goes on. There may be a special guest or two. We're going to then hand it over to someone who's going to walk you down some highlights of service delivery. Bring it back to me for what is our Years of Service program and why does that mean anything to you? We're going to do highlights of youth services, have a live segment where a few volunteers share their voices of hope, maybe look at a couple of videos, and then we're going to close. But there is bingo tonight. There is. So if you're interested in bingo, make sure that you go ahead and you stay on because we'll give you instructions. Your host for tonight's bingo is me, Stephen Wolf, and Andrew Sindel. We're going to take you on some lovely little bingo games. Right, without further ado, I'm going to hand this over to Mary J. Barnaby, our regional CEO. Mary, take it over. And I'm going to stop sharing so you can share your video.
Okay. Thank you so much, Stephen. And you guys do such a great job putting these programs together. They're so professional. And I just want to say hello and welcome to all my friends. I've been here now a little over 6 months, and although I haven't gotten to meet many of you in person, I feel like I'm getting to know you better, and I actually have gotten to meet some of you in person, and it's just such an honor to be with you and to really be part of our volunteer, just to get to know our volunteers and to actually meet you and see you in person and do the great work that you do. So, I think it's so nice when we can find a time every year to thank our volunteers. I mean, it's like, I know April is Volunteer Recognition Month and this is Volunteer Week, but it really gives us an opportunity to focus on you and take a moment to really celebrate the work you do every day for Red Cross, not just this week, but every day as volunteers. And I do know that it's not just about April and it's not just about this week. It's about what you do every day, 24/7, 365 days a year as volunteers. And it just blows me away sometimes to think about how powerful you are as a force, and what the good that you do and the work that you accomplish. We've heard the 90-90 kind of expression. 90% of the money that gets raised in Red Cross goes right to the bottom line. And that's because 90% of our workforce is you. You are the power, you are the force that drives the mission of the Red Cross. And without you, it just wouldn't be possible to have a Red Cross or even do what we do. So it's not just about today and not just about this week. And for some of you, 365 days can be multiplied by years and even decades, even just in terms of some of your tenure with the organization. And you know what? I've worked with other volunteer organizations. I have been a volunteer in other organizations, and I don't think there's any organization whose volunteers can compare to those of the American Red Cross, bar none. So in my brief time here, I've seen remarkable selflessness and commitment from you all. There's a willingness that you have to put others before yourselves. You have this ability to respond on a moment's notice. You're resilient, and this year certainly has proven that with COVID. You're resilient, you're adaptable, and you always show compassion. You put our clients at the center of everything that you do. So I hope many of you got to read the great story that was in this Sunday's Daily News about one of our volunteer treasures, Dottie Breyer. And Dottie is at the tender age of 91 years young, and she's been on the front lines in numerous local and national disasters for decades for the Red Cross. Dottie has been a volunteer and a pioneer in disaster mental health support. And you know what? She says in her article that working for the Red Cross is the best job that she's ever had, even though she never gets paid for it. And that's pretty amazing that the Red Cross is her favorite job, even though she does it just out of the goodness of her heart, which all of you do. Dottie's spirit to me embodies what you all represent, a commitment that is often hard to put into words. Recently, I had the privilege to be deployed to Texas to work with the unaccompanied minors. And one of our volunteers, Vince Daniele, was there. And he actually was my supervisor as I was working as a shelter associate there. And what Vince said to me about his recent deployment, which it really took to heart, he said, he doesn't just feel like he's part of the Red Cross. He feels like he is the Red Cross. And I really think it's important to look at that distinction, that this is really in your fiber. This is what you do. This is what you feel. It is your DNA. So I think you can all relate to what Vince said. So the words thank you just really, to me, don't do justice to what you all do as really true humanitarians. You are the Red Cross, yes, and you represent our mission in every word and deed as you're representing us. So it's not enough just to appreciate you this month or this week, and just know that without you, we could not exist or deliver our mission. I'm inspired, that's the word, every day by the sheer force of your compassion, your generosity, your ability to be there for others. And you accomplish so much with this compassion and your deep commitment. You truly not only put the great in Greater New York, but you make the work of the Red Cross come alive every day, 24/7, 365 days a year. So tonight we honor you, we thank you, and we're just so delighted for this opportunity to connect with you and to have you with us. And I just wish I could be there to shake your hands, give you a hug, and just tell you how much I appreciate and how much I'm inspired by everything you do. So Stephen, I'm going to turn this back to you now, and to thank you for the opportunity to say hello to our wonderful volunteers tonight.
Mary, thank you so much. I really appreciate those words. Thank you. And tonight is about hope and the interweaving thread of our volunteers, just bringing that connection, and that hope is you, my friends. And now I want to turn it over to our Chief Regional Volunteer Services Officer, Jose Dominguez, for some words.
Hi guys, it's so good to see some of your faces and of course all of your little circles with your pictures. And just an FYI, I am a fairly nosy person, so I love to look at people's backgrounds and it helps ignite conversation. Especially I'm looking at Anna Kaplan and that massive TV back there, and I'm wondering what is currently on the news and wondering, oh my God, especially because there's so many things going on in today's world. Eli just picked up a huge stein of beer over there, and I'm thinking, go for it, Eli. It was a wonderful spring day today, so I hope that you guys took advantage of that. And then many of you have pets, and I am a fanatic for animals, so every time I get to see a pet, it really, really brings just joy to my heart. And so when Stephen was talking about this and putting this program together to thank you guys, for everything you do, of course, I was like, let's do whatever we can to recognize our wonderful workforce of volunteers. And Mary, thank you, Mary, for all your wonderful support. She's only been here for, I want to say 7 months, I think, right? 7 or 8 months. And she's made such an impact. And she was talking about her recent deployment, and I was very, very fortunate to finally meet her in person in Dallas when I was deployed as well, and met so many wonderful Greater New York volunteers, along with so many other volunteers that I've worked with before across the enterprise and across the country, and it was just a profound experience. So tonight, as Stephen said and as Mary said, this is about you, just recognizing your years of service, your dedication to this wonderful organization. 15 years ago, I was very, very privileged to be hired by the organization and stepped in and fell in love with a mission that provided hope, as we keep saying, we're going to continue to say this evening. But it provided compassion and provided just this sense of serenity and a sense of belonging to, more beyond the fact that I was so privileged to be able to get a paycheck but just to be part of this type of mission. And I can't tell you, 15 years later, I'm still inspired and it's still motivated to continue providing the services that we do. And it's why, I mean, I look at some of you guys, and I've worked with some of you guys, and I haven't had the pleasure of meeting every single one of you, but the people that I have met here in Greater New York have been tremendous, have people that I've deployed with across the country, volunteers, your peers that, you know, if you haven't deployed, by all means, you know, even if it's a virtual type of assignment, do so. It just kind of, you know, solidifies why we do what we do. Respond locally, you know, as well. Put in a fire, you know, a smoke alarm, you know, during our smoke alarm, sound the alarm program that's happening as well. There's so many things that you can get involved with, you know, just because of the fact that this organization provides so many opportunities for our volunteers. We've had our challenges. This year alone, it has been an unprecedented year. You've heard that over and over again. It's not over yet. We're still continuing with some of the challenges, but how we have persevered is truly remarkable. The fact that we continue, and this is just a little bit of stats, and I hate to go into stats, but the fact that our volunteers, you guys, have donated over 160,000 hours during this unprecedented year has been tremendous. Can't even imagine. You've helped us fundraise. You've helped us spread the word of what we continue to do. And we couldn't do it. As Mary said, we can't do it without you. So from the bottom of my heart, I really, really appreciate it. I would love this fact that we're celebrating Dottie. Wow, when I saw that in the Daily News, not only did I skip the gossip column that I love to read, but, you know, I was so attracted to the fact that there was this profile of somebody that I actually know that was featured in this paper. And I was so proud to be part, you know, and serve right along with her and the fact that I could say, I know that person, that's tremendous. So I'm so excited just to be part of this. And thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to serve right along you and to continue to serve right along you. My hat's off to you. As Mary said, you guys really do put the great in Greater New York, and I'm so happy to be part of this team. At this time, we're gonna kick off the program, and I'm gonna hand it over to my wonderful colleague, Denise Blois. Go for it, Denise.
Thank you, Jose. Appreciate it. So I'm Denise Blois. I'm Manager of Government and Community Relations. I want to thank everyone again tonight for joining us to recognize the Red Cross volunteers who support us each day and give of their talents and skills to help deliver hope and help communities when they need it most. We have a number of elected officials with us here tonight to recognize our volunteers, and I would like to provide you with a brief overview of the Community Relations team at Greater New York and how we partner with our local elected officials to serve the community and individuals impacted by disasters, as well as in building better prepared and more resilient communities and sharing the message of the Red Cross's life-saving work. Here in Greater New York, the Community Relations team includes John Waldman, Regional Director of Government and Community Relations, as well as myself. And I serve, as I said, in the role of Manager of Government Community Relations. And our team is supported by several interns as well as volunteers. So here in this photo is John and I, along with Senator Comrie. And we had just finished visiting with him, sharing information with him on our work, as well as leaving with him some information on preparedness, hurricane preparedness, fire safety, a number of other materials that he was putting in his office so that his constituents and folks in the neighborhood could pick up and take with them so that they would be better prepared. So our unit oversees several functions. We handle municipal government advocacy and partnerships. We support the state with state and federal government advocacy, and we support community relations and engagement, including participating in local community events. Through our advocacy and relationship building efforts and working collaboratively across the organization with our partners, we build relationships that strengthen the Red Cross's ability to deliver its valuable services and programs to the communities across the region and state. We leverage opportunities to engage, educate, and partner with our elected officials and community leaders on initiatives that better prepare the community, deliver our critical mission-related services, including home fire safety campaign, free smoke alarm installations, support and promote blood drives, and service to the armed forces and international service programs. In addition, our unit acts as a liaison between the American Red Cross, government officials, community leaders, and coordinates partnership and community outreach activities. We've worked with many of our local elected officials to enhance the readiness of residents to be better prepared in the event of a disaster by co-hosting virtual Citizen Preparedness Corp emergency preparedness presentations to help people be prepared for hurricanes, fires, as well as other natural and man-made disasters. Elected officials have also partnered with us and helped promote our home fire safety campaign by recording public service announcements, sharing information with their constituents, and encouraging people to sign up. In addition, during the height of COVID, Red Cross partnered with a local elected official and partner organization, JASA, to deliver food and essential supplies as part of our critical mission in Queens to support one of the most vulnerable communities that we serve, our seniors. A typical day in our unit includes updating our elected officials on responses in their districts, working with them to better prepare their communities in the event of a disaster. For example, as I mentioned, by co-hosting a free emergency preparedness event virtually, and supporting us in a number of ways. So we are so grateful for the partnerships we share with our legislators and community leaders. Their commitment to improving the lives of our constituents and community aligns with the Red Cross's mission to prevent and alleviate human suffering in the face of emergencies. Now I'd like to turn it over to my colleague, John Waldman.
Denise, thank you so much for such an eloquent presentation. Indeed, there's a lot that goes on, and none of this would be possible without the beautiful work and sacrifice and commitment of you guys, of our amazing, amazing volunteers. And on the same note, on the same breath, I'll say also this would not be possible without our friends, our partners, the elected officials who represent their districts, who have the best contacts, the best reach of their communities, and just wonderful facilitators of this life-saving work that we strive to do every single day. I want to thank Jose and of course our CEO for opening and sharing their remarks. And Jose has already mentioned someone very special who is with us here today. And it's not just Anna Kaplan, it's wonderful Senator Anna Kaplan. Thank you so much, Senator, for joining us. I will yield to you in just a moment. I will say that we are expecting some really close and good friends with us today. I will read off some of the names who we know will stop by. We expect some surprises, but we know that we're going to be hearing from Congressman Adriano Espaillat, Senator Anna Kaplan, who is here, Senator James Sanders, Senator Phil Boyle, Senator Brett Hoylman, Senator Leroy Comrie, Assemblymember Linda Rosenthal, Assemblymember David Weprin, Councilmember Barry Grodenchik, and Westchester County Legislator Mary Jane Shimsky, who is also here, I think. So now I'll stop talking and I want to introduce our good friend, our amazing, unwavering supporter, Senator Anna Kaplan. You're muted. You're muted. You're muted. You're muted.
Thank you, John. I'm honored to be with you tonight, and I want to thank you for always being a partner with me, my office, and my constituents. Really, as many of you who might know a little bit of my history, I'm an immigrant girl. I came to this country at age 13. But I have to say, even all the way in Iran, in Middle East, in Asia, the sign of American Red Cross is very well known. It's an institution that helps so many people, not people just in the United States, but all over. It's a very trusted institution that people give money to, and volunteers like yourself really give time, their heart, their soul, and put all of their passion into giving back to our communities and all the ones who are less fortunate than themselves. Mary said it so well. Honestly, my hat goes off to you for working so hard. I know many of you don't know weekends, don't know nights. You're there to help out at any time you're called on, and really, what a wonderful institution to have you as the representatives, to be that voice and to give that lend that helping hand to people who really need it in their desperate time. I worked with American Red Cross, with John and Denise, and we've done webinars for a lot of my constituents who have been beneficiary of it. I personally helped install one of those fire monitors in someone's home, carbon monoxide, and it really shows how communities come together and help each other. American Red Cross has always stood for that. And as an elected, I want you to know that I really cherish our partnership. You know that you have a friend in me. You know that I will always advocate in Senate to get you funding, because we know you use this funding wisely and you make sure that every dollar goes as far as it can. In the same token, I've also called up where I've had residents whose house were in fire and needed help to find housing. Anytime that I've called, John, he's never said no to me and has worked with me to give the help that I need to give to my constituents. And for that, I am grateful, and I want you to know that I'm fully on board. Whatever I can do to help American Red Cross, all of its volunteers, for all the hard work that they do, I will always be there. I will always advocate and be your voice in New York State Senate. And as you mentioned, there's a lot of my colleagues who are going to be appearing tonight. I'm sure they feel just the same way as I do. And all of us together are a big force and could be that voice for you. With that, I want to thank you again for including me tonight. Again, with my deepest sincere thanks to all of the volunteers for all that you do for our communities. Thank you. God bless you. And please stay safe.
Senator, thank you so much. We appreciate you. We're sharing your sentiments. We can't thank you enough because you're so true to every word that you said. We appreciate you very much. We look forward to great things ahead of you. Thanks very much again. I hope you can stick around. Maybe you'll see a little bit more of a program. There's some really, really great stuff coming up. Thanks so much. I see some good friends joining us. Senator Leroy Comrie has joined us. Senator Joe Adabo has joined us. Councilman Barry Grodenchik. I will now yield to Senator Leroy Comrie. Leroy Comrie, welcome, sir. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, John. I want to thank you. I want to thank your team. I'm honored to be the state senator now for the 14th Senate District in Queens. I want to thank you for allowing me to be part of your National Volunteer Week celebration. As you know, I've had a long-standing partnership with the Red Cross from my time in the City Council and even before. Your efforts to disseminate fire and safety information, to provide free smoke alarms and carbon monoxide installations to homes in my district, where we've worked with you to make that happen, and the critical support you continue to provide the households who experience the tragedy of a home fire. The Red Cross shows up for Southeast Queens. So I want to take a moment to applaud the men and women behind the Red Cross in the greater New York area, as well as the countless volunteers who put in the hard work needed to save lives and help those in need. Unfortunately, I've seen firsthand how devastating residential fires can be, how it can destroy property and take lives. As recently as 2 weeks ago, the Red Cross showed up for a family that experienced a home fire in my district, providing them with the needed assistance, shelter, food, and financial assistance, clothing, and counseling, because the impact of a fire truly devastate a family. So I can't reiterate how grateful I am that our community is for your work in that area, and also want to urge folks to donate to blood. I gave platelets at the Lake Success Center this past Friday. I personally donated platelets on blood because it was needed. So I just want to mention that that's a major thing that our community needs to do also. It's important that we do the volunteering to give blood. I try to do it whenever I can because they've asked me to be able to do platelets as part of my donation. I'm happy to take out time to make that happen. I would urge us to give blood, because right now the blood supply is low also. But I really want to thank you, John. I want to thank Denise Blois and your entire team for everything that you're continuing to do. And I look forward to continuing to work to enhance the Red Cross, and to all of the volunteers that really make it happen on the ground and within the communities. Thank you for your efforts. This is truly important, because you are where the rubber meets the road. You are there taking care of the people trying to give people a little compassion and understanding as they're going through some of the most stressful times in their lives. So thank you all, Red Cross. Happy Volunteers Week, and I look forward to continuing to work with you as we continue to find other volunteers to take up the Red Cross mantle.
Senator, likewise, thank you so much for these warm words. We appreciate you. Your partnership has been so instrumental in helping us reach your constituents. We can't thank you enough, and we're deeply grateful. And likewise, I think we have a lot of work cut out for us ahead of us. So thank you very much for those warm words. I'm told now that Congressman Espaillat has joined us, and I want to ask him to please turn your camera on and come on, Congressman.
Yes, 1 second. Okay. Do you see me now?
Yes, we see you. Hey.
Okay, well, thank you. I want to thank the Red Cross for everything you do on behalf of...
We saw you there for a moment, but you went away.
Okay, back up.
Right, one more time.
Okay, how's that?
That his picture went away.
Okay, how's that?
There you are. You're back.
All right, thank you. Thank you. On behalf of the tenants from 135 West 183rd Street, the families on 700 West 176th Street, on 70 East 108th Street, on 357 West 135th Street, and 74 Post Avenue, I want to thank you for the work that you do and the God-saving work that you've done there for those families that face fires, and you were there when we needed you there, and you provided them the assistance that they needed to continue to move forward. So I really want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for the work that you do, the volunteers, the people that are with you. You know, you do God's work, and you do it under very adverse conditions. And so I know this is Volunteers Week, and people come from all over to volunteer. This city of ours has a great heart, and great New Yorkers come forward every day. But we really do want to thank you for everything that you do. And I know that it's tough, and this has been a difficult year. God knows this has been a difficult year, but every time I see your vans out there in front of a building that's having a difficulty, I just feel it brings a level of comfort to me that you are there and that you're doing the best that you can to help the people that I represent. So thank you so much for the work that you do, your commitment, your resilience, your giving, everything that you do for the city of New York and the district that I represent. Thank you so much.
Congressman, and likewise, thank you very much for your stewardship, for your support, for your leadership. You've been wonderful champion of ours on the Capitol. Our colleagues in DC always praise us, say, this is the man, this is the future of leadership. And he comes from New York, from the heart of it. We appreciate you. We can't thank you enough. When you recorded that public service announcement for us, in native tongue, in Spanish, reaching so many folks who we have never been able to reach before. We can't thank you enough. It truly means so much to us. And likewise, we look forward to great things ahead. We know we have a lot of work to do on the preparedness side, making sure that people are better prepared, more resilient. And we thank you for carrying the torch and helping us do the work. So thanks very much again for stopping by. I think our volunteers really appreciate that.
Thank you. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
And I see Joe Adabo, Senator. How are you? Thank you so much. You're in the car. I heard that the assembly was still in session, but I know you're in the Senate, so you're on the way somewhere to another event.
No,
good to see
John,
you, sir.
I'm actually playing dad tonight. I get to pick up my girls, but I want to take a moment to thank you and Denise and the entire Red Cross family for your efforts, and of course the volunteers during National Volunteer Week. Really appreciate it. And from my days in the city council back in 2001 to now currently as a state senator, just again thanking the volunteers and the Red Cross for being there where my constituents needed them most, whether it was the crash of Flight 587 or whether it was Hurricane Sandy, most recently the fires, Valentine's Day fire, Richmond Hill, fires in Ozone Park, but most recently even the COVID pandemic. Thank you, because you've been there whenever our people need help. Whenever they have their hands out there looking for help and someone to grab them and thank and help them, you're there. And I want to thank the volunteers, because in the darkest hours of my constituents' lives, you're shedding light on their recovery. So we couldn't do it without our volunteers. The Red Cross is great because of its great volunteers. So again, on behalf of myself, my staff, my team, I want to join my colleagues. It's a privilege to say thank you. Thank you to all the volunteers and to the Red Cross. Thank you.
Senator, and we thank you. You're also true to your words, and you certainly walk the talk. When Denise mentioned JASA partnership, it's you out there carrying those boxes. So we really appreciate you. Volunteers always care so much, when they see elected officials, coming out there in the trenches. It truly means a lot. We thank you so much for everything, for your leadership in the Assembly and in the Senate and the City Council, everything you have done. And likewise, we look forward to great things ahead of. So thanks very much. Enjoy your time with the girls. And now I want to bring on the City Council weatherman, Barry Grodenchik. Councilman.
Well, weather's important, John, and I appreciate that. I'm also the Mets man, but that's another story.
Yes, you are.
Listen, you've heard from several of my distinguished colleagues across the region, and I'm here tonight just to say thank you on behalf of the 165,000 people that I represent. My dear brother from another mother, Senator Comrie, said it so beautifully. We don't know when we're going to be a victim. We never know. And life has a way of upending us, and sometimes very tragically. But I have been through many natural disasters in the city. Unfortunately, 9/11, a man-made disaster. But the Red Cross has been there, and they have always been there, sometimes serving one family, sometimes serving thousands and thousands of people at once. So I want to say thank you to your volunteers tonight, especially. I know this is Recognition Week. And listen, I volunteer in many different organizations. About to go to a meeting at my synagogue because, that's what I do. And I know that you do it too. And government has a lot of answers, but it doesn't have all the answers. And the work that the Red Cross does is immeasurably, it's impossible to measure. But I do know from almost 36 years in and around government that when you help somebody, sometimes by volunteering, you can be the difference that uplifts somebody. And you'll never know that difference that you made in that person's life, but it is critical. And sometimes you find out, most of the time you don't find out, but it really uplifts our entire region. And I want to say thank you. And I hope you'll continue to volunteer because we definitely need volunteers going forward. And I too am a blood donor, and I want to encourage people to donate when they can. I'm a double red now. They got me for double red. So I can't donate every 8 weeks. I have to wait a while. But I'll be back in, I think next month I can donate again. So thank you all. Have a wonderful evening, and thank you for having me tonight.
Amen. Barry, it's great to see you. Thank you so much for those kind words. We really deeply appreciate you. Everything you have done. You have beautiful career in government.
Tomorrow.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Thanks very much. Appreciate you. And now I want to invite Westchester County Legislator Mary Jane Shimsky, please. Mary Jane, she's still here?
Can you hear me?
Yes. Yes. Hi.
Hi, good evening. I just wanted to come on and thank all of your volunteers for National Volunteer Month. The Red Cross does so much work. The breadth and scope of it all is absolutely astounding. From the smallest of blood banks to responding to the biggest of natural disasters and just about everything else in between. And the Red Cross's work would not happen without all of you volunteers. So no matter what you do, how often you're able to do it, you are part of an organization that has saved countless lives in this country. And I salute and I thank every single one of you. And I wish the best to the American Red Cross and John and Denise and everyone on the team. Thank you.
Mary Jane, thank you so much. And we likewise, we appreciate you. Like we said at the outset, without your partnership, a lot of these services would not reach the folks that have needed most. So we really, really, truly appreciate you. Please continue to stay safe and well. I don't see any other names right now, so I think we could probably proceed with the program. unless
Senator Boyle.
Senator Boyle, come on, Senator Boyle, you're here. Come on, sir.
How are you, John? Thank you so much. I too wanted to just join my colleagues in government, all levels, in a bipartisan fashion in thanking the Red Cross volunteers during National Volunteer Week. I cannot tell you the amount of great work that you've done for my constituents. I happen to represent an area that was hit incredibly hard during Hurricane Sandy and also by the pandemic. And sometimes, as you all know, it's a tragic fire at a house that you may be helping people with. And sometimes it goes on for weeks or even months that you're helping New Yorkers and Americans. The Red Cross is famous for being there whenever we need you, and it all comes down to the volunteers. So thank you very much for sacrificing your time away from your family, doing the wonderful things we need to help those most in need. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Couldn't have said it better, Senator. Thank you so much, and we appreciate your partnership. Thanks very much. Drive safe. We'll talk to you soon. All right. I don't see any more names. If anyone out there, the names we mentioned before, we will proceed and we'll bring you on as you announce yourself. Shirley, you up.
Hello. Hi, everyone. John, can you confirm that you can see my screen?
Yes, Shirley, we can see it. Beautiful.
Thank you.
But before Shirley starts, John, do you want to introduce Shirley? And, you know, or Shirley, do you want to introduce yourself because you are one of our VIP volunteers? I would love
I will remiss if I didn't do that. Thank you, Jose, so much for jumping in there. Absolutely correct. Well, I think everybody knows Shirley, but I'll take a moment, of course, to introduce my incredible volunteer partner, a data guru, a super volunteer, a person who says yes to absolutely everybody, even though sometimes I would really like to object, but she still says yes. I think she helps folks in every line of service across the organization. She's known from New York to California, in every state. She's absolutely incredible and indispensable. We love her so much. I pray to her well-being every single day. Shirley, you do so much extraordinary stuff for us. You have brought us into the 21st century in so many ways. Your data visualization skills have brought new life to the numbers, you know, those boring numbers, and stuff we do today and stuff you do every single day is just so extraordinary. I'll stop talking now because you're about to demonstrate this beautiful work. So Shirley Leung, everybody, thank you so much, Shirley.
Thank you. Thank you, John, and thank you for everybody to allow me to have this opportunity. When I heard about that we are doing this event to honor our volunteers, I was just thinking I need to do something special for this amazing, amazing team. So a lot of you know that I love data and I like to map with Housey View. And so I use these tools and I create this story that I'm sharing it with you. So, and the link right now is in the chat box. And if you feel like going along with me, feel free to do it. So this starts with the idea of honoring over 400 volunteers who has committed and served our community for over 10 years. It's totally amazing. So, and despite the fact that last year is really a challenging year, and look at the number, this is why I love data, that 9,000 incidents that we respond to, and we help our partners to deliver over 500,000 care packages. Vivian Moy, Joe Speculari, and their team is just amazing to carry on in such a challenging time to deliver all this necessary support to our communities. Really, really amazing. So that's why I really want to tell the story. And also our preparedness teams on virtual line prepare programs to close to 5,000 adults and children to continue to prepare our community. So it's really, really amazing. So if you ask me, where are these people? This is the map that I come up with. I really love it because I come up with this Red Cross heart that Stephen Wolf calls it. And I really love it because this is what I want to do. Thank all of you from the bottom of my heart. And when you get the link, feel free to zoom in. And you will be able to see the years. The bigger the hearts, the longer the year that the volunteers serve in that community. And we cannot really pinpoint the to the location to protect our privacy, but you can see that you guys are everywhere, all over in our region. So play with the map when you got it, and feel free to spread it. You don't need RCView to read this story. You can just pop online, click on the link. And this is the map that many of the legislators that sent us the video to congratulate you and to thank you for your work. So if you click on it, you will see their districts and also their pictures, their websites, and also you can just click on it and then watch the video that we will show some of them later. So this is the way that we can know that we got so many of our people, community people, elected officials to support what we do. So really, really amazing. So, and then there's a lot of links down there to link to some of the amazing stories that our external affairs team put together to highlight the work that you do and to let the whole wide world know, because it is now on the internet. So this is the story. As I said, the link is in the chat box. So feel free to spread the story. And one hope I do have is to inspire more volunteers to join us to help our communities. Thank you. So Stephen, turn back over to you.
Yay, thank you, Shirley. I think here we go. You get applause, you get applause.
Thank you.
That is fantastic. So let me share my screen here. Great, here we go. So I want to kind of build upon what Shirley said, and she has a love of data, which is inspiring because data tells stories, and you can hear it in Shirley's voice that it's really all about you. It is about, data, numbers, metrics, stats, we love them, but really behind it is you, right? And we talked about hope, and that hope is you. Well, one of the ways that we celebrate hope, the ways that we reward hope, is through our Years of Service Recognition program. And it's a really easy program to understand. We recognize your year of service starting at the 1 year mark. And 1 year is an amazing milestone because it means that you reached other milestones. You're onboarding, you're developing, you're empowering, your recognition going from 90 days all the way up to half a year and then to that 1 year mark. Because when you're at that 1 year mark, you can rocket yourself to 5 years and every other year of service milestone. And that's how we celebrate it. You can see on the screen, it advances every 5 years and it's ending at the 80-year milestone. Wow, 80 years. So we celebrate years of service, and what we do is we send everyone a pin package with the pin, with an official certificate of thank you, with an official letter, and that gets sent to everybody. Now, when COVID happened, we did a hard left, and we could not go ahead and send these out for quite a while. Our offices are still closed, but we pulled reports and everyone will be getting their pin package. We're going to start mailing them in May, and we're going to end the mailing probably in June because there's a lot. There's hundreds of pins that we're going to be sending out. And to make it a little easier, we're going to actually see, I'm going to share something else for you. I'm going to share my screen. I think I'm sharing the wrong thing, so let me go ahead and share again. Here we go. Great. So there are so many people to recognize. There's hundreds. And so what I did is I just put this on a website that you can actually view, and it's really easy. Once you get here, and it's a shareable link, looks great on the desktop, looks fantastic on a smartphone. So you can navigate any way you like, and you can go ahead and find your name too. So when you go here, you're going to notice some little navigation arrows on the lower right-hand side where you can navigate forward or left, or you can simply just scroll through. Tells a little bit about our Years of Service program, and also does a special thank you to CUSAC. CUSAC is a new partner. CUSAC is a New York City and Long Island-based nonprofit that supports children and adults with autism. Their volunteers helped mail our recognition packages in November, and they're going to help mail your pin packages coming up in the next few weeks. So shout out to CUSAC. But moving forward, you can check out, see years of service, over 237 volunteers. All names are in alphabetical order. All names are divided by chapter. And this lists volunteers who have a start date from April 2019 to May 2020, with the last year of service being in May 2021. We're going to update this so we can cover June 2021 as well. And this shows active volunteers, active volunteers in our region. And every anniversary date changes, of course, 5, 10, 15, etc. There's a little button here that when you click, looks like little horizontal lines. You can navigate to any year of service that you want to, and you can see who is getting a year of service. Click that, and you can see all the names there. And like I said, you could use your scroll bar to scroll too. So we don't want to, so there's so many people that we can't do a shout out to individual volunteers, but we do want to take this time to thank you for your service, for everything that you do. We are going to be mailing out your pins out soon. And when you see this and you scroll through and you don't see your name and you think that you need a pin, simply send me an email and we'll be sure to get your pin out to you. Thank you so much. Now I'm going to go ahead and turn this over. Who is this longest year of service? That is great. So we're going to go to, use the handy navigation and go to 60 years. Our longest year that we're celebrating, which actually had a 60-year of service anniversary last year in October, I believe, is Ross Ogden, a Metro New York North volunteer, a longtime leadership volunteer involved in biomedical. This presentation also has links to his story. So you can actually click on the links in the presentation and read more about Ross. So congratulations to all of our volunteers reaching their year of service milestone. A big shout out. Yay. All right. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna turn it over back to our presentation. So let me get that up and we're gonna switch over to, one moment. There we go.
And while you're doing that, Stephen, this is Jose again. I just want to, thank everybody for their patience. Obviously, we're now starting to get back into a little bit of a groove, with sending out some of these things that we have been so consistent in doing. But years of service really depends on the data that is in Volunteer Connection. This is how we're pulling data reports. And as Shirley mentioned, she loves data. So when your data is incorrect, whether it be your email address, your current email address, the one that you're actually using and receiving emails, or your year of service when you started, if you feel like, hey, I didn't get my 15-year pin and I just completed 16 years, but your Volunteer Connection profile may read that you've only been with us for 10 years, let us know. That way we can go in there and change it. I believe you have the power of changing that as well. If not, we can do it for you. But it really is the integrity of the data that we depend on to keep up to date. So even your emergency contacts, there are many volunteers in Greater New York that have not updated their emergency contacts. So just a little tug there with regards to data and keeping your data up to date and so forth. So thank y'all very much. But if you have any questions about your years of service, do not hesitate to ask us. Thank y'all.
Thank you, Jose. And now I want to turn it over to Hannah Tomasek, who is our Youth Services Coordinator. Take it away, Hannah.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Stephen. My name is Hannah Tomasek, and I am a Civics Corps member serving as the Youth Program Coordinator for Greater New York. Youth and young adults are a valuable part of the Red Cross family and represent over 25% of our volunteer workforce. They serve by participating, teaching, raising funds, and taking on leadership roles in their community. And I am so happy to recognize just a few of the fun activities our clubs in our region have hosted this past school year. So altogether, this fiscal year, our clubs have raised over $11,000, $11,207, which is so exciting. Queens High School for the Sciences raised over $5,000 through Tiltify, which is a website where they can do live streams of video games, which is really, really fun. Stuyvesant High School has created a 7 Fundamental Principles escape room event, which was really successful, and they shared it with other clubs in our region. Midwood High School received recognition from our national organization for winning the Most Active Club Award in the Northeast Division. Farmingdale High School sent letters to healthcare heroes, and you can see their picture right there. And Scarsdale High School has created yard sales and art show fundraisers to raise money for the Red Cross. This is just a glimpse into some of the things that our youth services are doing. Our clubs are really putting out great work and are a super valuable part of the Red Cross. They're super dedicated to bringing their mission to so many communities, and we are so proud of our youth members. But I'd like to now hand it off to the one and only Anthony Incarnato.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks, Hannah. My name is Anthony Incarnato. I'm one of the volunteer recruitment managers here for the Red Cross in Greater New York, and I have the honor and pleasure of introducing our Voices of Hope speakers tonight. These are some of our more dedicated volunteers who will be sharing their Red Cross stories with us. And our first speaker for this evening is Felicia Freed, who's celebrating 14 years of service with us. So Felicia, if you will come off of mute, tell us what volunteer positions you currently hold with the organization and your most memorable Red Cross story to date.
Okay, can everybody hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
So you want my current or all the positions I've held?
Most current.
Okay, so my most current position is a casework supervisor for Metro New York North, as well as assisting New York City and Long Island support. I also was recently just stopped a coordinator duty officer position, which I've had for majority of the 14 years. A little bit, one thing I'd like to speak to you about that was most inspirational to me was there was a fire in Elmsford years ago where a family from Barbados was visiting, and it was in the attic, and their young son, who was 2 years old, perished in the fire. And part of my role at the time for that one was I was disaster health services, and I had to make phone calls to see about, getting services for the client. And I reached out to a funeral home, and they offered to pay for everything free of charge. We also had everyone come together. We had logistics, we had disaster health services, mental health. We all kind of met together and helped this family. And we also had one of the administration people get in contact with JetBlue, and they agreed to fly the family and their son free of charge. So what I just wanted to say was not just this call, it's every call that I'm involved in. We all come together and we all help this client. And it's true that the motto is One Red Cross. We are one Red Cross. Thank you.
Perfect. Felicia, thank you so much for sharing your story. And next we have Gerald Simpkins, who's celebrating 12 years of service with us. So Gerald, if you come off of mute, tell us your most current Red Cross position and your most memorable Red Cross story to date, sir.
Okay, so currently I'm working as a DAT associate, and I'm also working with mass care. So those are the two positions I'm currently focusing on, although the national shelter system is kind of in the background, so I'm there if needed. My most rewarding experience has been actually this year working as a virtual DAT service associate. I was working with a family, they'd called in, they had a fire, and they couldn't stay in their home. It was a cold night, they had no place to go. So I was working on trying to get them a hotel and get them a place to stay and get them some funds and things like that. And they were waiting at a subway station waiting for my call. And when I made that phone call to let them know what hotel they were going to be able to go to, and to let them know that someone will be contacting them about next steps, she started crying, and that was the most rewarding experience for me so far.
Cheryl, thank you so much for sharing your story. That's incredible. We're going to go to our next speaker, Vanessa Greco, who's also celebrating 12 years of service. Vanessa, if you could please come off from mute and share your story with us as well.
Sure. Good evening, everybody. It's wonderful to see you and meet you as well. I've been involved with volunteering for over 15 years. I've been with the Red Cross chapter for 12. My reason for volunteering with the Red Cross or anywhere else has to do with 9/11. I've always loved the city, but that awful day, I just not loved the city. I realized on that day it was my city. And I was lost and I didn't know what to do. And I really wanted to make an impact. Volunteering with mass care and service to the armed forces filled that void and has helped me make an impact on my city, but also those who protect it. I have many favorite and special memories stored away all these many years volunteering with the Red Cross, but my most favorite memories are the events that are family-friendly events. These events encourage me to bring my young nieces and nephews to Fleet Week at the Intrepid, collecting donations at Madison Square Garden, where the Globetrotters did some fundraising, which was really fun. And most importantly, New Year's Eve and casino nights at the St. Albans Veterans Hospital, where I live in Queens. To see the young faces looking at the members of our military and teaching them to say thank you for your service as young as 5 years old, and to see a 12-year-old nephew pushing a young man in a wheelchair who was terribly injured in Desert Storm, smiling at him and telling him, hey, I'm taking you for ice cream. I mean, these memories I would never have if it wasn't for the Red Cross. And quite honestly, it should be me thanking all of you. And I really look forward to normal when we can get back to honoring everybody and really getting back to the SAF division of the Red Cross. So thank you guys very much.
Vanessa, thank you so much for sharing your story. I know in our time together in SAF, you were hugely helpful to the program, so I can't thank you enough. And we're going to go to our fourth speaker of the evening, Grace Young, who's celebrating 25 years of service with us. So Grace, if you'll come off mute and share your story with us this evening, we appreciate it. Wait.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, hi. I just want to say I am ecstatic about being recognized, because the thing is, I love helping people. And my point of me joining the Red Cross is because I see there's so much that you get involved in. I got started because one day I happened to be in White Plains and I saw a Red Cross vehicle, and I'm saying disaster services. I said, I don't know what that is, but it sounds like something I would like to be a part of. Well, I inquired about it, and I was told all the things that they do and how I could get involved as being a nurse. And I said, okay, I said, that's the place I would like to be. So I started off with disaster services. And in disaster services, I loved it because there's so many ways you could reach out to people, and people are so grateful when you're there to help them in their time of need. I held many positions being with the Red Cross. I worked on flag raising ceremonies in our village every year when the Red Cross would have their month of March, when they would be having the Red Cross month. We would raise the flag and let everyone in town know that this is the time that if they could give any donations, that we'd be grateful to take them. I did many things with it. I'm now a blood donor ambassador. I did parades. I've worked with when we had carnivals, we would put a display table up, letting people know that the Red Cross was around, and if they wanted to do any volunteering or if they wanted to do any donations, that we'd be very happy to have it. I also did the 911 when we had that. I enjoyed doing that because this way we've seen how much people, no matter where you came from, what levels of life, how everybody just stood together as one, handing out food, handing out water, whatever was needed. Everybody joined together. It doesn't matter about your color, your race, or anything, but everyone acted like one family. That was the thing that I liked. Another thing I liked was the red and white ball. I liked that because I know that was the Red Cross, one of their largest celebrations that they have each year. And one thing, I got to dress up. That was one thing I liked, and able to meet people from all walks of life there too, to show that people care not only for what the Red Cross had done in others' lives, but what they're doing each and every year. I love the Red Cross because the Red Cross is truly an organization that reaches out to help anyone. My one story that I do remember, though, when we had the Hurricane Katrina, there was one man that was there. He was homeless, and you can tell to look at him that he was homeless. And everybody that was there, they knew that after a while, after things got better, the electricity returned to their houses, that way they would be going home. With this one man, we could tell that he was upset because after the whole thing was over, he was going to wonder where he was going to go. Well, we had people that was visiting from Georgia, and I think we had people that came from Texas. And when we all got together with the health team, the mental service, and everybody, they would not let that man leave until he was connected to the right authorities to get in touch with. Well, the man was so thankful that he was able to get and reach out to someone so that way he wouldn't have to be homeless anymore, but to be able to have a meal and to be able to have a place to stay. That really stuck with me, and it really touched my heart to see how much the Red Cross would not let anyone go without being helped, without doing something to reach out to help another. That's why I care for the Red Cross so much. And I thank you so much for all that you're doing. Thank you.
Grace, thank you so much for sharing your story. And last but not least, we have Richard Sanford, who's celebrating 20 years of service with us. So Richard, if you would come off of mute and share your story with us as well this evening.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Okay, thank you so much. You know, I joined the Red Cross actually as a hospital volunteer when I was a boy at PS 225, well, high school actually it was. And then my parents, when I was in PS 225, were blood donors and always told me how wonderful the Red Cross was. They don't just give out money to everybody or donuts or whatever. They work with disasters. So that's how I knew always about the Red Cross. And I came back to the Red Cross in 9/11 as a driver of a van to shuttle people from hotels to different hotels. And it's funny because I'm a tour guide also, and here I am, it's 9/11, a terrible disaster, and I'm saying this is the Brooklyn Bridge and what year it was built, and it's such a weird feeling because these people had never been to New York, but at the same time it was 9/11, so it was quite a contrast. But my most memorable story, I think, was I work with mass care, and I'm a Red Cross instructor. Now, my most memorable story was we had a fire in Chinatown several years ago, and I was a language teacher, and I love foreign languages. I studied Chinese, Spanish, Italian. So I was very proud of my ability to speak some of the languages. Not great, but pretty proud. And I was asked to report to that shelter to help out in the shelter. And they said, Richard, these people need to explain in Chinese or in Spanish. Tell them about where the rules of the shelter and the gym, and we're in the gym and who divides what, and the men and the women go here and there. So I started talking to everybody as if I were in a gym, like a presentation. And one of the volunteers taps me on the shoulder and he said to me, Richard, you see that woman over there? She just lost everything. Her life will never be the same. And that humbled me right away. I realized that humility and understanding others and empathy was so important in the Red Cross. And later on that night, I spoke to one of the mental health workers. I said, I'm pretty amazed. In this shelter, it's so quiet, and everybody seems to be very nice about everything. And she said to me, Richard, just wait a while. And when the tears start coming, you'll understand how these people feel. They're in shock right now. They don't know yet. So those things really taught me to be humble in the Red Cross, to have humility, and to be empathetic and put myself in the shoes of others when I'm doing service to others in the Red Cross at a shelter or any other facility. Thank you.
Richard, thank you so much for sharing your story, and we thank everyone for sharing their story tonight. There's incredibly impactful and powerful stories. We know there's so many more out there, so we always encourage you to keep volunteering, keep sharing your story. We can't thank you enough, and I'm going to turn things over to our Master of Ceremonies, Stephen Wolf, to continue tonight's presentation. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Anthony, thank you so much. we're going to be moving forward because it's now almost the conclusion of our program. But before we do that, I want to do a special thank you. A special thank you to Veronica Avila. She came out and she helped us count a lot of different certificates and helped with the mailing. So special shout out, sending you my love, and to Community Relations intern Olivia Frasha, who helped secure special certificates from elected officials. So special thank you there. Now, next up, before we end, is some video highlights. So you've heard it from elected officials earlier on, these wonderful words of thanks. Well, our communications department has collected all of these videos and I put them in a playlist. You will have access to this playlist. And I believe we may have time for one or two that we have queued up. But before we do that, want to check with Mr. Waldman if we have any other officials that want to come online.
Hey, Stephen, thank you so much. And thank you so much for shouting out the intern. Olivia is just absolutely amazing. I would like to actually do an open mic because I can't tell if we have any other elected officials waiting because we have so many wonderful friends and volunteers on the program right now. I'm going through names, but nothing pops up. So if anyone is out there, please, this is your time. If not, I'm turning this back over to Stephen.
Thank you. We're going to give it maybe a few more seconds. If anybody... No?
Sounds like you can proceed, Stephen. Thank you so much.
Fantastic. Then we are going to go to our first video.
Hello.
Which is Assembly Member Amy Paulin. So we're going to hear from her. And I am going to put this in theater mode and play. And anybody send me something in the chat that you can hear it.
Hello, Red Cross volunteers. I'm Assemblymember Amy Paulin. With over 5,000 Red Cross volunteers in the Greater New York region alone, this is an impressive organization. Nothing could be more worthwhile than taking a moment to thank you all so much as you continue to give your time and energy and uplifting spirit to so many people in need. In one of the most challenging years in our country's history, the Red Cross has come through, as it always does. From the food missions, to providing life-saving training, to collecting and distributing convalescent plasma, to making face coverings for veterans and military hospitals across the globe, you have done the work of angels. You are all heroes, and we are forever grateful. Thank you.
Hi, I'm State Senator Andrew Gennardis, and I'd like to thank all of the Red Cross's volunteers for their service, especially amidst the ongoing pandemic this past year. Over the last year, we've seen countless individuals step up and answer the call to serve their communities. Folks in my district like Robert Castaldo, Colleen Kaur, Alonzo Leahy, Nancy Soto, and Jack Halabi, who together have a combined service of 78 years volunteering with the Red Cross. They represent the spirit of civic duty, and they've worked hard to prevent and alleviate human suffering during the COVID crisis. They have turned their compassion into action at a time when our city has needed it the most. And for that, I wholeheartedly commend their unwavering service to this incredibly vital organization. Thanks for all that you do to keep New York City safe and moving. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Amanda Septimo. I represent the 84th Assembly District in the South Bronx, and I wanted to take a moment to thank you during Red Cross Month here in March for all of the work that you. Hello, my name is Amanda Septimo. I represent the 84th Assembly District in the South Bronx, and I wanted to take a moment to thank you during Red Cross Month here in March for all of the work that you've done over the years, because we've all had an incredibly difficult year, but we would not have made it without volunteers and people and neighbors who are giving and leading with compassion and care and humanity. And that is what you all have done for so many years, day in and day out. And I am eternally grateful for your support in our community and so many others in the greater New York area. So happy Red Cross Month, and thank you again for everything that you do.
And my friends, as you can see in front of you, we do a playlist we will be sending out to everyone so that you can hear all of these wonderful words of gratitude and thanks from our elected officials. All right, so let's return back to our show, and that's a little playlist. And we're coming to the conclusion, but please do not leave because we do have bingo coming up. But what I'd like to do, I'm going to take myself here off of, you can see me. We have some applause for everyone tonight. Thank you so much. So to everyone, thank you so much for sharing our presentation, our lovely little show. This really is all about you. That hope that we talk about is you. Thank you so much. So we're gonna now transition a little bit to the bingo because we are at the end of our presentation, but special thanks to Shirley Leung, to John Wallman, Denise Blois, Mary J. Barnaby, Jose Dominguez, Anthony Carnado, Hannah Tomasek, and all of our wonderful volunteers that we featured tonight. A little bit of information about the PIN package and certificates and everything we mentioned. We will be mailing this to you. It takes a lot. There are hundreds and hundreds of them. So our wonderful partner CUSAC, which is that organization that works with autistic children and adults, we're going to be giving them the materials. They're going to be assembling them and mailing them out. This is going to take a while. So there's a lot of things there that have to be mailed out. So from probably May until June, we're hoping all packages are received by the second week of June, and you will be getting your information. After tonight's presentation, we're going to send you a thank you email, probably tomorrow, with links to everything you've seen today. And if you're staying for bingo, stay on. I'm going to turn this over to some closing remarks to either Mary Barnaby or Jose Dominguez.
Hi. So Stephen, yes, sadly, Mary had to jump off for another meeting. Her work never ends. So thank you guys so much for everything. Round of applause for Stephen Wolf. Yay, Stephen. This was great. And to John and Denise for putting together. And of course, hats off to the amazing, incomparable Shirley Leung. I love the hearts. The bigger the hearts, the better. But I love to see all of those small hearts that were around our region. And it just tells you what the power of volunteerism is like around Greater New York. So have a great night. Thank y'all for joining us this evening. Happy Volunteer Week. Whatever we can do to be of service to you, let us know. And have a wonderful evening. Stay on for bingo. It promises to